So in this episode, we're moving from last time we had what some might refer to as a modern dinosaur, a bird, because birds came from dinosaurs, to a slightly older dinosaur species.
About a 73 million year old type of dinosaur.
Yeah, just a tad bit older.
Yeah.
And this is actually a pretty cool one. I think this one's very cool looking. I think there's some very interesting things about this one. And it just happens that the Field Museum has a decent little display and explanation of these and some interactive things that are kind of cool.
I believe they have a female adult skeleton up on display specifically.
There's a female up there? Okay.
So, with that one, we're talking about Parasurolophus, first of all.
Right.
Or Parasaurolophus, I think is the
Parasaurolophus or Parasaurolophus, depending on which pronunciation you listen to on the internet.
Yeah, whatever. Doesn't really matter. The one with the long crest.
Yes.
So, that one, I believe the male, there's two options. I think there's subspecies, but I believe the short crests are females and the long crests are males.
Oh, so there is a crest size difference, actually.
For genders, I believe.
Do you know if there's any, well, I guess I was going to ask if there's any coloration difference, but we're kind of speculating on that point.
We actually do know a few dinosaur colors, believe it or not. We've actually found it out because, well, a range. We don't know exact colors. So these things, I think it's like melanosomes or melosomes or melatonin.
Melanins would make sense. Melanin, yes.
We found it fossilized in certain feathered dinosaurs.
Okay.
And so there's a couple feathered dinosaurs that we know, like, a range of colors they could have been.
Oh, okay.
Like Microraptors would have been iridescent black,
okay.
And Sinoraptorix had a long tail with, like, raccoon stripes almost, but more like a red panda. It would have been like red and white stripes down its tail.
Interesting.
So we know a few bird dinosaurs coloration.
Just general.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is crazy that we actually are starting to figure this stuff out.
Yeah, that's cool. And I know they've found some like skin impressions for a long time.
And Montosaurus, which is another hadrosaur like Parasaurolophus.
Mm-hmm.
We have skin impressions of. We actually have mummies of that one, not actual mummies, but like fossilized organs and stuff, like full like skin and organs all in a single fossil.
Very cool.
One of those was at the Natural History Museum in New York when we saw that. So so we have some mummies. They're not really, they're called dinosaur mummies, but yeah.
Do you know how complete the bone skeletal that we have of the Parasaurolophus specifically?
I don't know, but I know there's multiple of them. So and we have a pretty good picture of Parasaurolophus. It's not as we
found enough of them.
We found enough of them to know in general what it looks like. The one on screen here is a little outdated. It's probably a little shrink wrapped. This is a big thing with dinosaurs. So we will put the skin on and not count for the muscles. And so, like in Jurassic Park,
skeleton.
So in Jurassic Park, a good example is T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Right.
If you look at its head, it's very like sunken in and skinny. But like if you look up a modern depiction of Sue from the Field Museum, she's really chunky now,
right?
Because they've added the muscle and stuff to it.
Right.
So it's a very meaty, large dinosaur now.
Okay.
And Parasaurolophus probably, we believe, was really chunky as well.
Oh, okay.
But toys aren't like that yet.
Right.
So.
And the period you have listed here, 76.5 to 73 million years.
That's the late Cretaceous.
Okay.
But like about slightly less than 10 million years before T-Rex was around.
Okay.
You gotta realize.
So T-Rex probably didn't hunt.
No, T-Rex did not hunt this.
Okay.
The T-Rex relative to Spletosaurus would have hunted this.
Okay.
Which is just a smaller, more limble T-Rex.
Okay.
Essentially.
Okay.
But no, T-Rex would not have hunted this. You gotta realize, you think, oh, they're both from the late Cretaceous. The late Cretaceous covers millions of years.
Right.
So Parasaurolophus and T-Rex are both from the late Cretaceous of North America. They would have never seen each other because Parasaurolophus existed like 5 million years before the first T-Rex came about.
So there's the late Cretaceous, but there's the early late Cretaceous, the mid late Cretaceous, and the late Cretaceous.
Even then, like you could have two dinosaurs that lived in found near each other in the same formation, But I mean, if they're a million years off, even half a million years,
right?
Can you really say they ran into each other?
Right.
Like, it's probably reasonable to say that one of them ran into a relative of the other,
right?
Kind of like how Parasaurolophus lived with the Deinosuchus, which is a relative of T-Rex, but it didn't actually live with what we would consider a T-Rex.
Okay.
But another thing that hunted Parasaurolophus was Deinosuchus, which I will have to do its own thing on, because this is the largest crocodilian, I believe, an actual crocodilian that we know of. Because, like, there's Sharkosuchus, but that's not a crocodilian.
Right.
It's a relative. Deinosuchus is a crocodilian in the vein of crocodiles and alligators. Okay. And this thing could have weighed up to 9 tons, depending on the subspecies. So it is reasonable to think that there were Deinosuchuses hunting Parasaurolophus, just like there are crocodiles hunting wildebeest. Now, this is important because Parasaurolophus itself could weigh up to 5 tons. So we're talking multiple multi-ton creatures, both larger than today's modern large mammals, hunting each other.
And you say, so in here you say that they can be anywhere from 2 tons to 5 tons.
Yes.
Now, is that child to adult or female to male?
That's probably female to male. Also speculation.
Okay.
We have multiple systems for estimating these sizes of animals.
Okay.
It's still a very big debate, especially with things like the largest sauropods and the largest carnivores.
Right.
It's constant back and forth about what the actual sizes are. Like 10 years ago, Giganotosaurus was one of the largest land predators, bigger than T-Rex. Nowadays, we've realized T-Rex is actually probably heavier. So T-Rex actually is the largest predator.
Okay.
But like another 10 years, it could go back.
Yeah.
And we could have Giganotosaurus once again being bigger than T-Rex.
As we find more new research and samples.
And I'll have to do something on this one too. If you want changes in how dinosaur looked, go no further than Spinosaurus.
Oh, yeah. He's changed a lot in books.
In the past 5 years, that thing has changed more than I think any other dinosaur ever has changed in depiction.
Yeah.
It went from basically a giant T-Rex to completely different.
We'll have in the notes of the episodes, we'll have to include from the first episode, some good bird research books.
Yeah.
But also for dinosaurs, maybe just some of the different text resources that you have that go, this one, from the oldest to the newest research.
I've actually collected purposely a series of Spinosauruses.
Right.
Like, I have some really old ones I got from a kid.
Right.
I recently got a super accurate one.
Right.
And I think for that post, I'm just going to take a picture of all of them and then talk about how we went through the different stages of Spinosaurus.
Yeah.
Not helped by the fact that we blew up the original fossils during World War II.
Yeah.
So that's
they were
on top of
casualty of war.
On top of all this confusion, we also blew up the original ones.
Yeah.
So.
Now I guess, and we veer off a lot. Sorry, that's how our brains work.
Yeah.
But so on top of this particular dinosaur is that crest that we were talking about,
which was used like a trombone.
Okay, so that was like their call.
We know that. It would make sounds. However, there's been a few fringe theories. One of the recent ones, which was used in a documentary that isn't exactly sciencey, there's paleontologists in it, but the TV show kind of twisted their worlds, was that it was used as a sonic weapon. No, there's not sonic weapon dinosaurs.
Just
but
no.
There's an older theory where it used its crest to breathe fire.
Nice.
Realize this is a giant herbivore.
Nice.
No, this thing, it's just was used to resonate its calls. That's it. Like it literally functions like a trombone in its skull.
And were some animals, like the male's crest is bigger than the female's crest.
Parasaurolophus male's crest is bigger than the female's.
So an attraction thing as well.
Yeah.
Mine's bigger than yours, so to speak. Okay, so the sonic weapon and the breathing fire. Yeah.
Are fringe theory. The last thing I want to talk about is I was talking about size earlier.
Right.
So I was talking about Deinosuchus is huge, right?
Right.
And Deinosuchus is slightly smaller than T-Rex, so about 2 tons. Remember I said Parasaurolophus could get up to 5 tons.
Right.
Often in media, these hadrosaurs are depicted as helpless prey, realize these creatures are as big, if not bigger, than the top predators of the ecosystem. Like, T-Rex lives with Edmontosaurus. They're like the same size. And Montosaurus is not defenseless because it's literally the size of the T-Rex.
Okay.
So, like, yes, it's easier to hunt than, say, a Triceratops or any Triceratopsian with horns on its head or an ankylosaur with armor and a bone club. But it's not easy because it's huge.
And these the ones with the bone heads that would fit. This crest wasn't fightable.
No.
This was a fragile communication device and show-off device.
Parasurolophus used it to probably show off and to make calls. It would not have been used for combat.
So this wouldn't have been a head. What are those called? The head butters? Pachycephalosaurus.
We'll get to that one later.
Okay.
I actually, the start of this week, I did a post on the namesake Pachycephalosaurus in particular.
Okay.
So.
And these, so they lived 73 to 77 million years ago. Type of environment they lived in?
Out west.
Okay.
But realize back then there was a sea that cut straight through the middle of North America.
Okay.
Through I want to say I don't remember, like Iowa, Nebraska, like that at range.
Okay.
So it lived in probably Montana and Canada.
What's now Montana?
And Utah.
Yeah.
But realized that was the coast back then.
Okay.
Because there was a shallow inland sea cut straight through the middle of North America.
Okay.
So.
And in foresty land?
Actually, we probably just live on the coast.
Just out on the coast.
But especially realize fossils have to get preserved. So most of them we find are in wetland-like habitats.
Okay.
So it was a coastal wetland-like habitat, probably.
Does it affect the fossils? Actually, I guess it might affect it exactly the way opposite of the way I would assume. Saltwater, freshwater. Does the saltwater or freshwater help preserve or not preserve?
No, I don't know.
I didn't know if the mineral, the extra mineral in salt would crystallize and help preserve better.
That's something I don't know.
Okay.
It
might not have no bearing. It might have no bearing.
I want to work with live animals when I grow up, so I didn't go down the paleontology route.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know that much about the fossilization process, but. Yeah.
So that is as far as most dinosaurs are parenting. I guess we didn't get into this with the birds on the last episode, but on this one they were. Do we know from fossil record they were good parents?
We don't know this specific species, but there is a dinosaur, a hadrosaur related called Maiasaura, which name means good mother lizard.
Okay.
Because it was found at massive nest sites that they would go to with its babies.
Okay.
So at least this group, the hadrosaurs, probably took care of their young.
Okay.
Raised them. The sauropods, we have multiple places where we find their nest sites without adults.
Okay.
So we believe that sauropods would have just laid their eggs and
moved
away,
on. Okay.
While the hadrosaurs are believed to have taken care of their babies.
And when you say laid their eggs, did what we would think of as dinosaurs, were they all egg layers? We
believe so, yes.
No mammalian live births, as far as we know.
Also, realize there's pythons give birth,
right?
But they still have eggs. The eggs just hatch inside of their bodies.
Okay. So they still do gestate in an egg.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's a whole thing with the sand tiger shark at the beginning of Shark Week, which I'll get into, which is crazy that involves around that stuff. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is our little mini episode about Parasaurolophus or Parasaurolophus.
Parasaurolophus. I don't know.
All right.